to 10-Minute Prophecy, where we go through the prophecies of Daniel and Revelation verse by verse in bite-sized chunks. Thank you for joining us again. We hope that this journey through Bible prophecy has been enlightening, whether you are new to prophecy or have studied prophecy in the past. As always, if you haven't seen the previous presentations, please watch them as each prophecy builds on each other. The link to our playlist is down in the description below. You will also find the video on the non-denominational Protestant biblical prophetic interpretation method that has proven itself over and over again in world events, both past, present, and can be relied upon to understand the future. See the link in the description below. Here we will discuss the final prophesied acts of the United States. Now, many of you listening here may think that what is being prophesied seems impossible. But just as the people in the previous kingdoms of Babylon, Medo-Persia, Greece and Rome, Papal Rome thought that they would never fall. They fell just as the Bible prophesied. What is interesting is that they fell at the height of their power when they thought they could not fall. Here with the United States, the Bible is clear as to what will change in the United States. In verses 14 to 17 it says, "And deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles which he had power to do in the sight of the beast, saying to them that dwell on the earth that they should make an image to the beast, which had the wound by a sword, and did live. And he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak, and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. And he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name." The final act of the United States prophecy reveals that the final act of the United States will be to create an image to the beast and give it power. One key identifying mark of the beast is that it was wounded by the sword, but lived. This fits the history of the papacy. When France removed the civil authority of Papal Rome in 1798, at the end of its 1260-year rule, as the Bible prophesied, its religious system survived and continues to this day. The papacy has remained intact, only lacking civil power. But according to prophecy, the United States will once again become the civil arm of the papacy and compel all people to worship it under penalty. The United States will impose economic penalties on anyone who refuses to worship on Sunday. A national Sunday worship law will be enforced, fulfilling the prophecy that all people, rich and poor, free and slave, will be forced to comply. Notice that the mark of the beast will be received in the right hand, representing actions, or the forehead, representing beliefs. This is in contrast to the seal of God, which can only be placed on the forehead. This means there will be two groups that receive the mark of the papacy. Those who don't believe in Sunday worship, but comply due to civil and public pressure and civil penalties. Those who truly believe in it will include those who push for national Sunday laws. When Sunday worship is mandated by law, people who reject the seventh-day Sabbath will receive the mark of the beast. Many believe this scenario is impossible in the US due to the separation of church and state, but recent developments show that the US is beginning to speak as a dragon, Revelation 13:11. On March 24, 2025, Archbishop Elpidophoros of America compared President Trump to Constantine, presenting him with a holy cross symbolizing divine guidance. He expressed hopes that Trump would bring peace and make America invincible. Who was Constantine? He ruled the Roman Empire from AD 280 to 337 and transitioned it from paganism to papal dominance. In AD 321, Constantine instituted the first Sunday law, found in the Codex Justinianus. On the venerable day of the sun, let the magistrates and people residing in cities rest, and let all workshops be closed. Some conservative Catholics now refer to Trump as Donald Constantine Trump, hoping he will bring back national Sunday worship. A leading Christian nationalist influencer recently said, "We have to start the return to moral order in this country by force. We have to regulate morality by force. It's the only solution. Pastor Sean Feucht, another prominent leader, openly supports Christian dominance in government. You want the kingdom to be the government? Yes. You want God to overtake the government? Yes. You want Christians to be the only ones? Yes, we do. We want believers writing the laws. This marks a shift towards state-imposed morality rather than personal evangelism. At a 2022 Catholic conference at Franciscan University of Steubenville, Dr. Chad Pecknold, alongside now Vice President J.D. Vance, said, "Sabbath Sunday laws orient us to God and safeguard the common good of the family." Across pulpits and church circles in America, there's growing support for reintroducing Sunday blue laws. What are Sunday blue laws? In 1610, the Virginia colony enforced strict Sunday laws. First offense, loss of food for a week. Second offense, loss of food and public whipping. Third offense, death. These penalties echo Revelation 13, 16, 18 and seem to be a preview of what is to come nationally. Most US states still have Sunday blue laws on the books. Could this ever be repeated in the United States? Many insist this couldn't happen again in the US, but it already has, and prophecy states it will again. The US will change its character and begin supporting papal authority. Growing evidence of a movement for national Sunday law. Wall Street Journal columnist Sohrab Ahmari called for a return to Sunday worship. Sigrid Massey, in Give Us Back Sunday, promoted Sunday as a national day of rest. During COVID, the governor of Mississippi declared Sunday a day of prayer, humility and fasting. The Union Spring Herald argued Sunday blue laws are constitutional, stating, "This opens the way for a national law that standardizes Sunday law enforcement across America." The article goes on to state that since each state has a different Sunday blue law, the federal government should standardize it with a national Sunday law. President Trump tweeted, "Happy Sunday, we want God," and referenced how Poland defeated communism with the help of Pope John Paul II. President Trump also, during the National Day of Prayer event, called for a return to God, and using the White House for meetings concerning the national Return to God movement, which includes a return to Sunday worship, the global push for Sunday laws. Samoa's Prime Minister proposed banning Sunday commerce. Taiwan and Germany enforce Sunday rest laws. Quebec promotes the Federal Lord's Day Act. Slovenia bans Sunday store openings. The European Sunday Alliance campaigns for continent-wide enforcement. During COVID, the lockdowns are given as an example of how Sunday blue laws should be enforced. Can you see that even now there is a growing voice to enforce Sunday worship in the United States and around the world? So what will be the strategies to begin this? Most state governments currently in the US have constitutions or bills of rights that guarantee full religious freedom. So when laws are passed on religious matters, it's clearly inconsistent and even feels like betrayal to those being targeted for their beliefs. To justify this, officials often try to make it seem like it's not about religion, but rather about civil obedience. One common claim is that Sunday is just a civil day of rest, and enforcing it is simply a public policy or police matter, something done for the common good. But this argument doesn't hold up. Everyone knows that Sunday is religious in its origin, history, and meaning. If it weren't for its religious background, no one would be pushing for its observance in the first place. So any law that forces Sunday observance is, in reality, religious legislation, and therefore religious oppression, and mirrors papal authority and rule. Some might argue, if there's a law, shouldn't it be followed until it's repealed? That's true for most civil laws, as long as they don't interfere with personal conscience. But Sunday laws do interfere. They force people who observe a different Sabbath to go against their beliefs. Such laws can't be applied equally to everyone because they violate religious freedom. This is why you can make laws concerning the last 6 commandments, as these apply equally to everyone, but concerning worship stated in the first 4 commandments cannot be applied equally given different beliefs. Another argument is, in a democracy like the US, don't majorities rule? The answer is yes, but not when it comes to conscience. Jesus said, "Render unto Caesar the things that are Caesar's, and unto God the things that are God's." Governments can make laws to protect the rights of all citizens, but they should never cross into matters of individual conscience. A true good conscience will never harm others or infringe on their rights, 1 Peter 3:21, and laws should never force someone to choose between God and government. The founders of the United States never intended for anyone to face problems of conscience because of national laws. However, they left a dangerous flaw in the system. Religious laws were allowed to remain in the political structure. And now, as religious understanding continues to grow, it's clear that these laws actually prevent people from obeying what the Bible teaches, putting them in direct conflict with people's God-given rights. Because of this, Christians who are faithful to the Bible cannot follow such laws. If the government truly wants to honor the values it was built on, it should remove all religious laws from the books. But religious political leaders won't allow this. And as a result, the nation is heading down a dangerous path. It will end up aligning itself with the papal religious dictatorship of the past, as is prophesied. In response, God's faithful people will cry out, just as the psalmist did, "It is time for you to act, O Lord, for they have made void your law." Psalm 119, 126. We are now living in the final time, just before the mark of the papacy will be placed in the forehead or in the hand. The United States is about to change in its character and enforce religious worship. With national apostasy, there will come national ruin, and this will be the downfall of the United States. Jesus is calling us to get ready, and is calling us out of this world and to remain true to Scripture. It is up to you to decide who to follow, the law of man or the law of God. This concludes our time today. Thank you for joining us. Please join us next time when we will see what 666 means. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them below. And don't forget to like and subscribe. We look forward to seeing you again soon.